Good morning. This video is to give us confidence in prophecy, and to do that I'd like to go back to the year 2 or 1 BC to the land of Israel. Now, the previous 400 years had been very quiet. There'd been no new prophecies, no prophets. There was nothing until this year when things began to happen. An angel appeared to a priest, Zechariah, and told him that his wife would give birth to a son. Now, Zechariah doubted this, and his lack of faith is another story. His wife was well beyond childbearing years. However, Elizabeth did become pregnant. 6 months later, the angel Gabriel, and we're very privileged to know his name, appeared to Mary and told her that she too would have a child. Mary was a little bit confused because she wasn't married, but in order to give her confidence, the angel said to her, "Look, your kinswoman Elizabeth is pregnant beyond the years of childbearing." And he said that he told her this because nothing is impossible to God. And it's good for us to remember that nothing is impossible for God. So Mary stays with Elizabeth for a few months, and Elizabeth eventually gives birth to this child, who is very special. And it says in Luke chapter 1 and verses 76 onwards, that this child would go before the Lord to prepare the way for him, to give his people knowledge of salvation through the forgiveness of their sins, by the tender mercy of our God. And there was to be light after 400 years of darkness. So which prophecies am I talking about here? In Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 3, concerning John the Baptist, it says, "A voice cries, 'Prepare in the wilderness a way for Yahweh, make a straight highway for our God.'" And then in Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14, it says that the Lord will give you a sign. It is this: the maiden or the virgin is with child and will give birth to a son, and she will call him Emmanuel, or God is with us. So we know from Micah chapter 5 and verse 2 that this child of Mary's was to be born in Bethlehem. Now that was a little bit of a problem, because Mary and Joseph at this time were living in Nazareth, 2 or 3 days' journey from Bethlehem. So what was the solution to this? Well, it was a little bit drastic. In Luke chapter 2 and verse 1, it says that Caesar Augustus issued a decree for a census of the whole world, or at least the Roman Empire, which meant that everybody was on the move. Joseph and Mary were both descendants of David, and they had to go back to the city of David, that was Bethlehem, and they arrived just in time for this child to be born, and they ended up in a cowshed. Mary was in no fit state to spend the night on the hillside when there were no other lodgings. The child was about to be born. Now, it's unlikely that Joseph would have known what to do, but in a close-knit society such as Bethlehem, it wouldn't have been difficult to find a midwife. Joseph would have been useful for fetching water and buying food and so on. Mary is safely delivered of this child, and eventually things are cleaned up. The child is swaddled. Now, babies love to be swaddled. They feel secure. So this child was wrapped up and placed in nice warm straw in a manger. And towards the evening then Mary is given a little bit of rest. But there's a knock at the door, if there was a door. And some shepherds come in with the most amazing story. And they say that an angel appeared to them. And this angel said, "Listen, I'm bringing you news of a great joy, a joy to be shared by whole people. In the town of David, Bethlehem, a Saviour has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord." and the shepherds found it exactly as the angel had told them. Now in verse 19 it says, as for Mary, she treasured all these things and pondered them in her heart. Well, if you've just given birth to a child and somebody turns up and said, look, angels have said this child is very special, it's not something you would forget. So can we have confidence in this account? We can, of course. Luke, who wrote this account, was a doctor, and he would have been able to interview Mary directly and possibly even some of the shepherds. And he wanted to write this with accuracy, as it says in Luke chapter 1, verses 1 to 3. Now, why did God go to the trouble of providing prophecies? 2 reasons. One, during the darkness of those 400 years, it would give people hope, something to look forward to. And also, we needed to be absolutely certain that this child was the Messiah, and he fulfilled all the prophecies with accuracy. We can be certain then that today, every prophecy that's yet to be fulfilled will be fulfilled. And we need that hope to get us through this very, very difficult time. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless you all.